Hello, hello. How are things? Need light. There we go. First time you caught me live. Well, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Do I sound okay? Good evening, Redacted. Thanks for coming back. Who's Maury? Hello? Nice. Never know. My sound likes to just change things up. Hope everybody's doing great this evening. Awesome. Thank you. So who's playing PAX? Just did 2 videos on it recently. I don't know if anybody's seen both of them, but first video we did was about the launch, which caught me by surprise. And then the second video was responding to some of the comments that we got on the first video and some that I've been hearing kind of in the community all along. We'll see what this PAX Day is all about. Nice. Has anybody here not played early access that's planning on playing launch? I'd be curious. I've been following PAX Day ever since it was announced. I put it on the back burner for several months, but I plan to play again when 1.0 releases. Put over 100 hours into the early access. Nice. I don't know much about PAX. You're probably watching my channel then for the Star Citizen content, I imagine. Yeah, PAX Day, Star Citizen, Ashes of Creation, all games I've been following since, well, PAX Day and Ashes of Creation I heard about pretty early on in their dev cycles, and I've been following them for a long time. Star Citizen, I learned about, well, so I knew about it at its inception. I saw the Kickstarter, but I kind of tuned out of it until much later in its development cycle. So I've not been following it the whole time, but it certainly dominates my channel. Haven't played it all, but casually looked into it. Yes, I'm a Star Citizen. You got it. Nice. Yeah, the common bond between these 3 games for me is the open world sandbox elements. That's the kind of MMO I want to play. I have played a lot of vertical progression MMOs in my time, and I'm done with those. World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 1, ESO, which is not as vertical as some of the others. New World, which I thought was going to be more of a sandboxy horizontal game because it was in beta. In beta, it was a totally different game than it was at launch for anybody who might have got a glimpse of it back then and compared it with live. But it ended up being another vertical progression game. That's the direction they've gone with it. The thing I don't like about those types of games is that if you don't constantly keep up with them, and you take a little break and then you go back, it's like, well, everything you did before you left was for naught, because now you're basically got to start all over. So anyway, back to the commonality between these 3 games that I'm watching. That's what I'm hoping that PAX Day, Star Citizen, and Ashes of Creation all have in common. They are all more horizontal, progression-based, sandboxy games. The only one that there's a question mark on for that is Ashes. Ashes definitely has a vertical progression leveling system. But by and large, most of the game has that sandboxy kind of horizontal progression feel. So I hope that's the case long term and that they don't ever start creeping up on that level cap. PAX Day, no such thing as leveling, which is amazing. Or questing, which is amazing. There's a comment on one of the videos that I put out recently about lack of quests, and that is music to my ears. I don't know about you all. To this day, the best moment I have ever had in a game was Ultima Online. How long did you play Ultima Online? Curious. I played for a little while, not a super long amount of time. That was my first exposure to an MMO. I don't think I yet knew that I was going to like MMOs whenever I played Ultimate Online. It was kind of a shock to me at the time. But it's funny, anybody who watches my Star Citizen content might also know of Salty Mike. I had Salty Mike on for one of my podcasts I don't know, probably a month ago at this point, and found out that he was like a 10 or 15-year Ultimate Online player, which surprised me. I think I might have played for 3 months total. That's one thing I like about Guild Wars 2, reach level cap, and then you get gear, and since it's horizontal, you really don't have to do anything besides story and raiding. Yeah, exactly. I've heard that about Guild Wars 2, Eisenmore. I never got to play Guild Wars 2. I played Guild Wars 1 pretty extensively, but then by the time Guild Wars 2 came out, I think I was already deep in World of Warcraft, and I wasn't ready to jump ship yet. 5 years of Ultimate Online. Wow, that's a lot more than I played. Yeah, I can imagine that if I had stuck with it, I'd probably be saying the same thing about how those were the glory days of MMOs, because Ultimate Online had everything I was looking for in a game later on. I just didn't know it when I played it. I hate to do this in real life and in games. Looking forward to PAX Day. Yes, Delby. I could not agree more. That's the thing I'm most excited for in PAX Day. I mean, it is just. Sorry, I was going to sneeze. It's just this huge open world just waiting for us to carve our space into it. That's exactly what I'm looking for in a game. What I'm looking for in Star Citizen. What I'm looking for in Ashes and PAX. I think of all the games, like PAX is kind of the most inviting in that way. Like there's nothing there. I mean, you go into Star Citizen, you still have NPCs and missions and that stuff. Even though they're definitely aiming for that sandbox, you kind of build your own place. But like PAX has none of that. You go in and it's just empty, waiting to be filled with whatever we decide it should be filled with. How much of PAX Day have I played? I played whenever the early access launched. I started playing on day one, and I personally played for probably, I don't know, 5 months before I knew PAX. At that point, like I had grinded a couple of my skills up to max, and we built an enormous base and encampment. And by that time, I knew this was a game that I was going to be interested in long term. And what I did not want to do was burn out on early access because I knew they were going to be wiping, skills were going to be reset, all that stuff. So I felt like I had a firm enough grasp of the game that I could take a step back. A lot of people in our community kept going though. We have people that have played almost every day of early access, and the whole way from launch till now. And they're just now winding down as they know things are going to be shutting down on October 6th. So I kept engaged in the project and kind of seeing what was going on and what our clan was up to and all that kind of stuff. But my day-to-day subsided about 5 months after the launch. And then I just kind of took a back seat on the drive, and I just kept watching what was going on with the project. Fair. That's basically why I took stuff. Yeah, exactly. I want to make sure that come launch that I'm ready to go, fresh, as if I had not been playing it for ever. And I think it worked because I'm as pumped for this launch as I have been for any MMO launch, even ones that I had never played early access. Like the last MMO I was probably this excited about was probably New World, which obviously did not pan out too well, but for totally different reasons. How about you, Eisenmore? How long did you play? And what did you accomplish? I'm curious. Yeah, I don't think I saw anybody respond that had not played early access that was planning on playing. Delby says I played until first wipe, then a break, and then came back for a bit. Just haven't done the grind as hardcore as the first round. Yeah, I can understand that. I don't think I'd be up for it. That's basically why I kind of went on hiatus. I didn't want to keep repeating. Clan member can create own questing. Also, the clan leader will be creating the quests like gathering, etc., and join wars to fight. Exactly. I don't know how to say your name. LX1W or 1MN. I kind of have to see it as Leximan. Let me know if I'm saying it right. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. We're going to have a structure. I know we're going to have structure our clan in such a way that there's kind of like tiers of responsibility, and those higher up in the responsibility chain will be doling out missions and quests and rewards for those lower on the chain. We've got our own kind of in-clan economy plan that we're talking about. It's going to be pretty cool. I think the economic aspect of Pax Day is pretty exciting. Both for like what you can do in clan, but also worldwide. My partner and I didn't do any of the deep dungeon delves, but for the first and only skill wipe, we got level 30 and basically all skills. Holy crap. After that, it was level 15 or some, and 30 for one or two other. Yeah. I didn't get the 30 in all of them, that's for dang sure. I just picked I picked one thing. Like when we first started in early access, we took the approach, we had a big clan and we had people assigned to different skills, and so that we could kind of push all of them as fast as possible. And so I was assigned to brewing and winemaking. That was my two that I volunteered for and received responsibility for. And so I maxed those out. Yeah, look into it. See if you are interested. And Noskabian, if you don't want to spend money on it and you're looking for a clan, you can come pop over our way. We got free copies to hand out, because what's happening is and you could probably find us in other clans too, but all the founders are receiving a free copy to give a friend. Clever way to turn everybody into recruiters and promoters of the game. But yeah, there's no reason to purchase the game. There's plenty of free copies running around out there. So consider that if you do decide to jump into it. Anyway, brewing and winemaking. That's what I maxed out to 30. Nothing else. I didn't even attempt anything else except building, of course, because everybody's skilled up by building. Did I hear somewhere that you couldn't get a plot of land without a subscription? Redacted. Yes. That's been a point of contention in the comments on the videos. Oh, really? The delay on Twitch is much less? I had no idea. I'm primarily a YouTube guy. This is the only time I use Twitch. But I'm on both. I'm using that, whatever it's called, Restream, to broadcast to both, so you got your preference. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the subscription. Yeah, so that is Pax Day's funding model, redacted. Basically, any player can have up to 4 plots of land, and there's tiered subscription prices. There's one price for 1 plot, another price for 2 plots, and then 4 plot pricing is more than both those. You can play for free. If you play on a free account, you can still build on other people's plots. So join a clan. Clans can give plot permissions so that you can build on clan plots. Obviously, you won't be able to, like, most clans, I would imagine, won't let you just do whatever you want on your own plot. They'll have a use for that plot, but I know in our clan we'll be inviting free players, and they can get creative within whatever we need for that plot. So it's definitely possible to play for free. They certainly encourage you to be a paying member, so you get like 50% more XP. There's a system in the game called Favor, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's a currency that you can use on things like fast travel and so forth. Eventually, it's going to tie in with the religious system that the game plans on bringing online. So there's perks to just being a subscriber. Now you can subscribe, I think, for $4 a month and get no plots and just get the XP bonuses and all that kind of stuff. You can play for free, not get those bonuses, not get any plots. I think the 1 plot plan is like $7. The 2 plot plan is $10, and then the 4 plot plan is $18 or something like that, I think. So yeah. Now, a lot of people were complaining and did not understand this. So this is really important to understand. Grace, thank you. Yeah, it's not favorites, Grace. Everybody's, thank you for all the corrections. But this is a really important thing to understand because people did not understand this in my videos. And if you subscribe for a certain amount of time and you get some plots, and then later you decide, okay, I'm going to take a break from the game and I stop paying my sub, you do not lose all the work that you put into your plots. Now, eventually, your plot will come down, but any building materials that went into constructing whatever creation you came up with goes into what they call the redeeming queue. So your plot will come down, your building will be disassembled, but every piece of resource that you use to build that thing will go into your redeeming queue, so that if later you decide to come back to the game because they launched some new features or whatever, you'll be able to access all that stuff in your redeeming queue and just rebuild somewhere else. So it's not as much of a setback as some people thought it would be if they chose to take a break, which I think was most people's issues with the subscription. Yeah, so I think I just answered your question. Does that answer your question, Redacted? But yeah, you can also build on other people's land. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, next year, I think, is whenever. I mean, we'll see. Who knows? I mean, I don't think they've publicized a whole lot of the roadmap past the PvP changes that they plan on coming next year. It's too bad they didn't adopt a plot size theme, to be honest. It does answer it, but maybe a small plot for free and bigger, more plots for more sub-tier. Yeah, well, I mean, you can turn your 4 plots into one big plot. So you can, in the game, you can connect plots, and if you connect multiple plots that you own, it just becomes a bigger plot. And you actually, I think, get slightly more space than, like, whenever you combine, say you combine 2 plots into one larger plot, I think you get slightly more space than if you had 2 plots separated. So there's incentive to do that. A lot of people have wished that they would give 1 plot for free, but there is one thing that paying for plots solves, and that is people leaving the game and then kind of littering the world with unused plots. I don't know if, for anybody who followed early access the whole way through, you would have known that Mainframe, which was the company behind Pax Dei, they had to do multiple plot wipes because this was a problem even in early access, where people would come in, they would play for a little while, they would leave. And they're like, in early access, you didn't have a subscription, right? So whatever founder package you got, you had those plots for the entire duration of early access. And that was why they had to do so many plot wipes and cleanups, because people would come in, they'd play for a little bit, they would claim the best spots, and then they would leave, and you would just have these empty plots sitting around. So the plot wipes solved that, so other people could get access to that land. And once the game launches, the subscription will kind of serve that same purpose. It'll kind of automate the process of cleaning up vacant plots. The idea. Yeah, that's why I stopped playing Dune. Took too long of a break and lost everything. Oof. Yeah. Well, Dune didn't even have a subscription. They just, you would run out of power and your base would start crumbling. The decay system would kick in, which is what some people have said they wished PAX would do for like the free plot, would just use the decay system, but I can understand why they did what they did. They need money somehow. Good point on the plots everywhere thing. Yeah, I think it's a clever solution. Delvey, after some neighbor experimentation problems, I learned to build within a 1 plot circle. Yeah. A lot of people like the challenge of doing everything they need in a 1 plot circle. I know my partner did that. After we were kind of done building these massive castles and bases, then it became kind of interesting and challenging. Once we knew everything that we needed to progress through all the tiers, it became an interesting challenge to do everything in 1 plot. It's doable. Spoiler alert. But you got to get pretty creative with the space, for sure. There's definitely a lot of advantage in Pax Day for joining a clan. things like clan bases and crafting halls and all the stuff that you can kind of spread out more and just rely on some of what your clanmates are doing instead of having to go everything alone. But obviously, you can go that route too. Back to the Grace thing I was mentioning. If you haven't seen it, Pax Dei recently put out an article on their website. I linked it in one of my earlier videos, but it was all about like the intended changes to PvP. So when the game launches right now, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who knows in the audience, but the end game is going to be centered around an area called Lioness, and this is a PvP zone. It's not something you have to participate in because all the resources, at least most of the resources you need, are available in the PvE zones. There are some that are strictly in the PvP zone, but it's not necessary by any means to get them unless you really want to progress like the quality of your gear to a certain point. Anyway, so the end game is going to center around this Lioness area. You're going to be going in there at first and trying to extract as much resources as you can, and of course, competing clans will be out there either competing for those resources or just killing you for fun or whatever they're doing, and that'll be it at first. Before the end of this year, they plan on doing another update. I think they're calling it Verse 5, and that update is going to include feudal shrines, which will be areas for point control in Lioness, so places that you'll try to hold to take some form of ownership for some benefit. We don't really know yet. At least I don't know yet. If you know, let me know in the comments. But we don't know yet what those benefits will be. That's TBD. But on that same article where they talk about that, they also talk about future plans going into 2026. Feudal alliance system. Everybody's waiting on that, where we can begin to form our own feudal kingdoms, and the rulers of those feudal kingdoms will be called knights, and you can swear fealty to each other, which will create alliances. It's going to get pretty sophisticated. And in that same thing, they also talk about upcoming changes to Lioness, where we're going to be able to build market towns in Lioness, which will be immune to attack or kind of PvP, but it sounds like there's going to be different mechanics for taking control of these market areas, more economic in nature. So if you're not grueling PvPer and you prefer the economic part and sides of this game, it sounds like you're going to have an outlet for kind of end game territory influence as well, which is pretty cool. And then finally, it's the parishes. They also mentioned in that same article, which will be tied in with the religious system and grace and all that stuff, which I have no idea what that's going to look like, but also sounds very interesting. So it's kind of like these 3 tracks of military, economy, and religion. Going to get pretty wild. Mass crafting is much harder, I think, especially if you're trying to smelt high-tier materials. The big furnace is huge. Yeah, the big furnace is big. Some of the one plot tiles that I've seen have that big furnace as the centerpiece and everything else built around it. That's how big it is. Yeah, definitely. Skill progression will take much longer than it did pre-first wipe. Yep, that's my understanding as well, MB. I've heard. I have not played, or I have not advanced skills since pre-first wipe. Pre-first wipe, I got brewing and wine crafting maxed. And I did not try again after that. So I don't have personal first-hand experience, but I've heard from many people in the clan that it is a much more of a slog now than it was. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't even know if I'm going to be leveling any skills. We're still waiting on all that to come out. Eventually I will, obviously, but I'm talking for like the first sprint. Like we're definitely going to be in sprint mode to start and kind of selecting some crafters to advance ahead of the rest so that we can get access to every skill in the clan at the highest level as fast as possible. But once we're done with that sprint, I'm sure everybody will be chipping away at their own crafts in their own time. And I can say that I enjoyed brewing and wine crafting enough that I'm going to do it again. I really like the way they did that stuff, and I'll probably add in cooking this time. Maybe baking? I don't know. The whole consumable crafting thing I really got into. I enjoyed it. I'd love to hear what people in the chat, what your favorite professions were, if you have one. They've also talked about crafting guilds at some point. Cool. I missed that one, Devly. Or Delby. I'd love to learn more about that. I'll have to Google it. But it makes sense. If I want to build a small cottage near a stream in the woods and live in peace and expect the woods to not look like a logger's wet dream, can I do that in this game? Love your SC coverage also. Oh man, thanks, Griff. I got a new SC video coming out soon, by the way. I know I promised one. Well, I promised one by yesterday, I think, but this whole Pax Day announcement kind of shifted my schedule around. But I have a Star Citizen video in the works. It's recorded. I'm just working on some of the overlays and stuff. It's a little bit of a different video for me. I'm mixing in a little my technical coverage, but a lot more theory crafting in this one. So I hope you enjoy it. Coming out soon. Next week, probably. At some point. Yes, you can build a small cottage near a stream in the woods and live in peace. Somebody may be along to chop down the forest around you, but it will regrow pretty quickly. And honestly, there is so many forests in Pax Day that I don't think you'll have to worry about your forest being bulldozed, especially if you choose the more common trees. That would be my tip for you. Find a stream with very common trees around it, because there's very common early game trees, and then there's different tiers of trees and different types of trees, and some of them are going to be more used late game than others. So if you want a peaceful stream, I would choose one with very common trees around it, just to mitigate the likelihood that people will come along and bulldoze your forest. Grollo's Tavern, yes. Noscavian, that is exactly what it'll be. I had a tavern in the first one, so that big city that I was talking about that we built, right in the middle of the city, we built a big tavern, and that's where you could find me. It had a bar, stools by the bar, had the big wine-making barrels all through it. I had upstairs, I had my beehives and stuff, because you need honey for the mead. I had all that upstairs. It was cool. Enjoyed it. Had a bunch of, we had like the storage barrels kind of all around the bar and stuff, so people could just walk in and grab whatever kind of drink they wanted. I had a cabinet where I stored all the wine. I got into it. It was a lot of fun. Beer, winemaking, best crafting. Yes. Thank you. I loved it. I picked it because, like, when I went into this game, like, I was totally new, and I was looking at the professions. Because in every game I play, I kind of like to specialize. I don't like to do everything, because honestly, crafting usually bores me, but they did it really well in this game. And so when I went in there, I started looking at like weaponsmithing, blacksmithing, armor smithing. Like, I can do that in any game. And then I saw brewing. I'm like, sold. I can't think of another game I can do brewing in, so that's why I picked it. Do we know what all is planned for the 1.0 patch yet, or is it just, hey, it's 1.0? I didn't catch anything on my precursory look on the announcements. Yeah, I think we have a good, solid understanding of what's coming on 1.0. I don't know, there's debate on whether there will be any surprises in 1.0. I don't know if we know that. But all right, Miss Delby said it's a gorgeous game. You can find all kinds of places, but so can everyone else. So a neighbor could be in your future. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Griff, if you want to build that small cottage, there's nothing stopping a neighbor from moving in. Kind of like I just watched a movie. What was it? Oh man, it was a new release. Anyway, it was about people back, like, post-World War I, who settled on the Galapagos Islands to get away from society. And it started out with just this one doctor who had moved out there, and all of a sudden, neighbors started showing up on the island. It's a brand new release. I just watched it. It was really good, but that's what that comment just reminded me of. The Kennedy. Hello, Grollo. Hope to have a good night. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for getting here. Appreciate you stopping by. Good to have you. The Kennedy is somebody who just joined the community. Really happy to have you there. Griff, good to know. I'm not as try-hard as I used to be, and since we are still years away from base building in Star Citizen, I'm always down to try a new MMO for the housing. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, that is the thing I'm waiting for in Star Citizen is crafting and base building. Once we have those things, you'll see me playing a lot more Star Citizen. But unfortunately, I think I don't know, we're a little further away from those things than I would like us to be. At least a year. I don't know, maybe a little less. We'll see. Does look like it has good graphics. Yeah, no Scabian. The graphics are great. You know, it's Unreal 5, so you kind of know what Unreal 5 is capable of. But I think I've never seen an Unreal 5 game do base building like this game. I mean, it's truly free build. The stuff that you'll see people create are insane. Some of the clan members were just giving me a tour a few days ago, and some of the stuff they had built, you know, they wanted to show it before it all gets shut down as part of early access going down. But man, one of the guys, they had like pool tables constructed and catapults and ballistas and like, oh, not functional, of course, but like the designs were all there. I mean, shuffleboards. I mean, it's just the stuff people create is insane. You have to get in there and see it to believe it. I don't mind neighbors. I would just like at least a small amount of foliage between my property and someone else's. Also, can we form HOAs to kick people who only build cube houses? I wish, Griff. The only way to ensure that is to get enough people to put plots down to block other people out. Like, for example, if you had multiple plots yourself, you know, you could put your center plot down and claim the space around you to prevent people. Maybe look for other people who share your taste and get them to put plots down and kind of block other people out. That would be one strategy. Did you read about the salvaging changes coming in 4.3.2? Looks like they're getting. Sorry, it looks like they're. Looks like they're setting up salvaging to slot in crafting later. Yeah, I did. I just saw that today, actually. It's interesting. I don't think, from what I understand, those changes are not coming in 4.3.2, though. I'll have to look into that again, but that was my understanding. I just can't wait till T1 in Star Citizen. That will get me to play a lot more. I miss how the game was. T1 what? Kennedy. Tier 1 crafting? Yeah, I'm waiting for engineering and the ability to just man a ship and do non-combat roles like scanning, energy management, repairing. Yeah, that's another thing I've been waiting on in Scabian. A lot of recent games have come out that have really promoted that gameplay too. Like, I can't even think of the names off the top of my head. I think I have it right here. Jump Space, that was one of them. I think that really brought like the multi-crew, non-combat rules to a popular game at the moment. HOA is dope, yeah. You can build insane walls, that's true. Oh man, did we build some walls. No HOAs, I hate those in real life, yeah. Me too. Up until recently, mine wouldn't even allow me to put a shed on my property. I would not want to be blocked from putting a shed on my property in Pax Dei. Unfortunately, I don't have much to add to the Pax Dei conversation. I'm not very knowledgeable about the game. Hey, that's okay. Don't have to be. Thought about checking out the game, but haven't yet. Well, like I said earlier, if you just want to kind of scope it out, we might have some copies roaming around on Unhinged to be given away for free. Again, everybody who played early access and got the founder pack, they now have a free copy of the game to give away. So find somebody with a copy. Don't go out and spend money on the game if you just want to check it out. How's the combat in PAX? Is it pretty smooth? That's it depends, Redacted, on your definition of smooth. There's mixed reviews on the combat. the very earliest incarnation of the game, a lot of people's opinions are still based on that. So a lot of the feedback that you'll hear on Pax Dei Combat is rooted in kind of outdated knowledge. About halfway through early access, maybe a little further than that, they did a big combat overhaul and rolled out an update that substantially improved combat. During that, they added a lot more abilities. Like in the beginning, it used to be there is no character classes in this game. This is a classless system. If you played like OSRS or New World or plenty of other games out there with class systems, it works like that. Like your abilities are determined by the gear that you equip, types of armor you equip, the type of weapons you equip. This was always the case. So like, but in the very beginning, a weapon would have one skill. It was usually on like a 20 or 30-second cooldown, and so combat just consisted of slashing with your weapon or whatever, and every once in a while you'd be able to hit that button. Well, now every weapon has, I think, 3 or 4 abilities, so there's a lot more abilities to choose from. You can weapon swap, but it puts your abilities on cooldown, and then different types of armor will give you different abilities. So you can wind up the bar with quite a few abilities. Now, it is action style combat. It's not tab target, so you're aiming and swinging. There's mixed feedback on kind of the visceral feel of it, like the kineticness, like the feel of like connecting with an opponent or an NPC with your attacks. I think you really have to feel it for yourself. My personal opinion is it is better than most survival crafting games that I've played. Like if you compare it to, I don't know, Conan Exiles or Ark or those types of games, it is better than those. Not as good as something like Ashes of Creation. But yeah, I would say it's in between those. That's where I would rate it. Tier 1 item recovery. Waking up with my gear on me just really ruins the immersion. Yeah, I totally agree with the Kennedy. They've improved it a little bit with the med gel, but it still has a long ways to go. We need tier 1 at least. I totally agree. It's definitely diminished the challenge for me, which diminishes everything. But I'm living with it. It is what it is for now. I just hope it doesn't linger too long. Jump space or jump ship, something like that. And Pulsar Lost Colony too. Yeah, it's just interesting how much interest there's been in this type of game suddenly. Jump space has so much potential. I gifted multiple copies to friends. Nice. I haven't even got the chance to play it yet, Griff. I need to find some time to play it because I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about it. No HOA, paying taxes is enough. The combat, I think, is the biggest complaint about the game. Yeah, Izumori. That's definitely the point of contention for people. I still think there's room for improvement. I do too. Like, I'm not trying to paint it like, oh man, they've solved all the problems. There's definitely room for improvement in the combat in the game. I'm hopeful that they continue to iterate on it. Bring out more abilities, more types of weapons. One of the things they did during early access, whenever they did the combat overhaul, was they removed a lot of the offensive magic. Wizards and that kind of play was more possible early on, and they've removed a lot of that going into the 1.0 release. It's a lot more physical now. You still have some spellcasting, especially for healers, and there's some like crowd control abilities and that type of stuff, but a lot of like the fireballs are gone. I'm hoping they eventually bring that stuff back. I think that'd be cool. Star Citizen is my first MMO I've really put a lot of time into, outside of Destiny, which is kind of an MMO light, and lots of Tarkov, which has some MMO aspects and a whole different beast. Cool. I think I've run into a lot of people that Star Citizen is their first MMO, and also a bridge to the sandbox genre, which is what Pax Dei is, obviously. So, but yeah, I think that's a testament to the variety of game modes that Star Citizen has, is like pulling in these non-MMO players, which is actually a topic that we talk about in the Star Citizen video that I have coming out next week, so check it out if you get a chance. The way you describe Pax Dei sounds pretty good. The updated combat sounds better than Why I heard, yeah, I think it's improved. It definitely is. Um, it's come a long way since just swinging until something dies. It still has a ways to go, but better. And honestly, after playing Dune Awakening, like Dune Awakening had a pretty simple combat system, but the game was still fun. I enjoyed it. Like the only reason I'm not playing a whole lot now has more to do with just the end game mechanics than it does the combat or anything like that. So I think it's showed how fun things can be, even if some of the mechanics are simple. Yeah, the stream is always delayed, the Kennedy. That's just how this stuff goes. I don't know why it's so delayed. Somebody said that there's less of a delay on the Twitch side, but more on the YouTube side. I really don't know. I mostly do YouTube, but I just opened the Stritch Tweam for this live stuff. Pumped for CitizenCon next week. Griff, me too. I'm trying to watch it live, but I keep having to dodge scheduling conflicts. Yeah. If you want, hey, speaking of the CitizenCon next week, if anybody here is looking for a place to just hang out and chit chat while you're watching it, we're having a watch party over in my neck of the woods. I'll put in chat. I'm gonna put the URL for our Discord server just in case you want to come pop in, say hi over there, and join us for CitizenCon next week, or apply to the Pax Dei clan. You're looking for a clan, so you know. There it is. That's a link to the Discord. We also have a website you can go check out, and there's links to the Discord on there too, and that's even simpler. That's just unhinged.gg. So there you go. Put the links in chat there. Sorry, catching up. Some magic sounds cool, but yeah, fireballs sound a little OP. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you just gotta balance them. You know, I've played a lot of sword and sorcerer games that had fireballs and swords, and the stuff was balanced. So I hope they can. But I think that's exactly why they removed them candidates, because they didn't feel that they were properly balanced. So I do think the intention is to eventually bring it back, but with different balance. We'll see what that looks like. I played a lot of sandbox style games. I played a lot of DayZ, which was kind of sandbox. Yeah, I think I've heard DayZ. I never played DayZ. I heard that was basically the original sandbox survival game. They definitely need to add range, but the Holy Trinity is a good start. Yeah, I'd love to see more ranged. I heard that the bow is not as effective as it used to be. Whenever I played the game, the bow was a pretty effective ranged weapon. I hear now it's mostly been neutered and it's just basically a weapon used to pull. But I also heard a rumor that that might be changing for the 1.0 launch. I hope so. I'll definitely be testing it out. Yeah, Redacted said Twitch was much faster, like seconds. Dune Awakening was a very good survival game. I just decided I was done once. The only thing left to do was grind for gear that gets you the same materials but faster. Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard from a lot of people, and I myself included. I will say that of all the games that have come out in the past, I don't even know, probably 3, hell, maybe 5. I don't know. At least the past 3 years, I had more fun in Dune for the first 2 weeks of its release than I have had in any game over the past 3 years. It was insane how fun the first couple weeks of that game were. For anybody that didn't play, it was a launch I'm glad I did not miss. Just traversing the sands and avoiding the sandworm and avoiding the overhead people who would try to blast you and catch you in the anti-gravity bubbles. And there was so much danger to avoid. The point at which the game lost that magic for me was as soon as you were airborne. As soon as you crafted your first ornithopter, it's like all the risk of the world kind of went away. and then it became an efficiency game at that point. And that was kind of sad. I wish they had somehow retained that feeling of danger, and I wish. In retrospect, I kind of wish the ornithopters were more limited in some way because I feel like it just took so much away. Like if you watch the movies or read the books, I mean, they didn't spend all their time airborne. They were down in the sand and along the hills, and so it just felt really strange that in the video game, like everybody spent all the time in ornithopters. I thought that was maybe a little bit of a misstep. For me, the combat in PAX isn't really about the simplicity, but about how it feels. It didn't feel that fluid, or that there was much impact. It's really hard to nail down properly. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what I meant when I was saying like the visceralness or like the kinetics of it. Like you swing your weapon and it hits the opponent. And there's definitely a way that feels good in some games. In other games, it kind of feels like your weapon's just kind of slashing through something as if there's air there. Citizen in game, salute out to you too. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I agree that since the beginning, PAX, I think they've made improvements, but it's not perfect yet. But I expect them to keep iterating on that and improving it. The Kennedy I try and stream, but I can never get a regular schedule down, and I always get called into work or something. Yeah. I very rarely go live. Anybody who hangs around my channel knows that this live thing is not a common occurrence for me. I'm definitely more of a make a video and upload it kind of person. But I've been trying to mix in some more live stuff here and there. These live chats I really enjoy just because feels like I'm hanging out with people from the channel, which is cool. Whenever PAX launches, I will be doing some streaming, probably a day or two. Again, I am a pretty bad streamer, but streaming is something I enjoy in small doses. I did it whenever Alpha 1 of Ashes of Creation launched. The very first 2 days of that game I streamed, and then that was it. I'll probably do something similar for PAX, just for all those people out there who might, be on the fence about trying it out and they just want to watch something, especially on my channel or in the Discord or anybody. I'll be putting something up. Remote watch party or local? It's going to be remote. It'll be local to our Discord server. We're just going to be hanging out. There's going to be a bunch of us hanging out in a voice channel in Discord, and we're all going to be watching the stream live together. We'll be airing it on Discord, or you can tune in directly yourself. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing, Tom Siki. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be on our org or anything like that. You can just be whoever. You're welcome to come watch it with us. How much is PAX Day? I think... I actually don't know what the box price is. I think it's going to be 40 or 50 bucks. But again, you do not have to spend the money on it. If you are thinking about checking it out and you're willing to join a clan, there's a lot of clans out there, ours included, that the founders would be more than willing to hook you up with a copy because every founder gets a free copy to hand out to somebody. Now, some have friends, and they're going to be handing out copies to their friends. If you're like me, you have no friends except here. So, yeah, those people will be more than happy to give you a copy. Now, that doesn't preclude you from paying the sub, but again, like I said, if you have a copy of the game or a free copy that's been gifted to you by somebody, all the founders are getting Steam codes, so you'll just be able to plug that in and redeem it for a copy. Then you can at least get in there, get a feel for the game before you decide if you want to subscribe or anything like that. And I hate talking like that because I feel like I'm a salesman. I am not a salesman. I'm not affiliated with Mainframe. I'm not endorsed by anybody. This is just me talking about games with gamers. Yeah. Oh, looks like Izumori answered that before I even got a chance. I didn't get that far, Izumori. I'd heard they were working on Bow, just don't know when it will get updated. Yeah, I hope it's updated for the 1.0 release, Ellie. I love Bow. I love hunting. Especially as somebody who enjoys the cooking professions and stuff like that. I love hunting, collecting the meat, and of course the leather is helpful too. Getting chased by your first worm is intense. Exactly. Oh, gosh, that was so fun. I have to tell you, Eisenmore, I did not die to the worm. It took me the whole way until the deep desert. This is the first time I died to a worm. I was. Wait a second. I could be wrong. Nope. I think I died once before I got to the deep desert. It was I don't know if you remember early in the story, you're still on your sand bikes and you were tasked with going north. Once you had completed all the areas in that starting zone, you had to go north in the desert, and there was a really long stretch that you had to drive across. I think the worm got me on that stretch. I never tried Doom. Maybe I'll try it, pick it up sometime. The desert sounds chaotic fun. Yeah, the Kennedy. It's definitely worth playing. I would say if you're gonna try Doom now, do it alone for your first week or two in the game. Don't join a clan at this point because they're gonna try to just give you everything. They're gonna give you a copter right away, and then all the magic goes away. Don't do that. Go it on your own for a while. Maybe if those patrol ships could send out interceptors, yeah, that's what we were saying in this Cavian. Like, there's so many ways they could have made the skies dangerous. I wish they would have. Deep desert needed to be like 10 times bigger than it was. Traveling long distances needed to feel like an actual risk. Running out of food and water. Yeah, I agree, Griff. Yeah. But again, a lot of that danger came down to the ability to fly. Like if you had to traverse some of the deep desert on foot, it would have felt a lot more dangerous, even the size it was. But or maybe if your copter was limited in distance, you had to like make pit stops. I don't know. There's a bunch of ways they could have gone, but Pax Day, like the way it's implemented, it basically is like one big deep desert. The whole world it works very similar to how the deep desert did. I'm talking about like the way it's meshed and divided up into tiles, and DayZ definitely had a bit of issues sometimes like that. Appreciate catching you live. I've enjoyed your neutral SC discussions covering the different systems and tech and giving somewhat of a developer's perspective. Thanks, Griff. What I try to do. I'm glad it works sometimes. Redacted, maybe a community trivia for the game code. Yeah, there you go. Well, we put out a survey, so if you do jump into the Unhinged Discord, which I linked above, there is an Unhinged News, and then when you join, if you pick Pax Day, it's going to unlock all the Pax Day categories and channels. There's an announcement channel there. We have a link in that channel to a survey that we put out. If you complete that survey, we're collecting information from people, like if you have a free copy to give away, or if you're in need of a free copy. So if you fill that survey out, we're trying to match people up that have copies to give away to people that need them. So it's a really good way to get yourself a copy. But if we have less supply than demand, then yeah, we will definitely do some trivia or something like that. It does have a box price, Isomori, but you can bypass it. That's what we're talking about. I was looking at packs today. I'm interested, but not ready to try it yet. This isn't in game. Yeah, we've been talking about that. I'll be streaming for the first few days if you're looking for somebody to check it out, but there's probably gonna be a lot better streamers out there than me streaming it. And again, if you're interested in checking it out, if you can find yourself a clan, there's gonna be a lot of people with codes to give away. Give a free copy, and you do not have to subscribe right away. You can get your free code, get in there, start getting a feel for the game long before you ever subscribe. I mean, you don't ever have to subscribe. That's a common misconception. There's definitely going to be benefits to subscribing, but it is playable non-subscribed, especially if you have a clan that you can use their tables, their property, that kind of stuff. So you can definitely inch your way into it. Hunting would be cool. Yeah, hunting is cool. There's all kinds of things to hunt. There's deer, bears, I don't know, like groundhog or platypus-looking things. There's a bunch of different animals to hunt. I tried to shoot down birds, I think, but I don't think they're shootable. I think they're just kind of decorative. I died to the worm because I found out it was related to the story. Yeah. Agreed, on foot, the deep desert was plenty large. Yeah, would have been. We tried to do a race across the deep desert with ground vehicles and found out that you could not even cross the server boundaries on a ground vehicle. I don't know if they fixed that, but whenever we tried it, ornithopters could pass the server boundaries just fine, but ground vehicles could not. Seemed like an oversight. Where's that at? I have a copy that will just rot. Ismar, if you're looking to give a copy away, yeah, jump into the Discord server. Like I said, in the Pax Dei category, we have an announcement channel. There's a link to the survey in there. You can fill it out, say, hey, I have a copy to give away, and we'll match it up with somebody who needs it. Beer Dick, if you have a Pax Founders Pack now, you can get up to 4 months of free subscription, but that's a big package. But they're on sale now. But you're right. There'll be tons of players with codes. Yeah, definitely. Kennedy thought about the tech problems and you were talking about and thought up something, but I'm not super knowledgeable about server stuff. Trying to learn it because Star Citizens is in-depth talk. Which tech problems are you trying to think about? I'd be happy to discuss. But yeah, as Beard Dick points out, there's going to be a ton of copies out there. I actually have 3 Pax Day accounts myself. So I'm going to have 3 codes, just myself to hand out. I don't have anybody to give them to, except for people in the community. So it should be easy to come by these codes. And I certainly don't plan on running 3 accounts in live. I'm not ready to subscribe at that depth. What if they could spool up a region-specific server connection per person, cut down on latency? There's reasons that won't work, Kennedy. I understand the appeal of that, thinking that if every person had their own server, all problems would go away. But the problem with that is state exchange. Because imagine you walk into a room and there's 100 other people in that room, and you need to be aware of what all the other 100 people are doing. In order for you to be aware of what they're doing, that person's personal server is going to have to send information to your personal server, so your personal server can tell you what that person's doing. Now multiply that by 100 or 1,000 or however many people are nearby, and all of a sudden you have 100 or 1,000 servers having to talk to all other 99 or 999 servers, and you clog up the network really fast. That's a big problem. Delby, the devs haven't sent out the copy info yet. I think that's coming on the 14th too. Yeah, I've heard we're going to get that in an email on the 14th. You're right. Because if you're not a founder, there's 2 important dates for the launch of Pax Day. There's the 14th, that's when servers go live for founders. And then October 16th is when it goes live for non-founders. So the founders getting their code on the 14th makes sense, because whoever they give those codes to, they won't be able to play until the 16th anyway. So it's your typical MMO launch, or your typical launch in general. I think pretty much every game these days gives a 2-day head start for a certain price. I know Diablo was that way, and I think even the new WoW expansions are doing that now. Pay a little extra, you get a 2-day head start. Seems to be pretty common in the business now, for better or worse. Survey submitted. Thank Ismore. Awesome. The Mega Shard problem, the ultimate problem they would have to solve of server latency. Yeah. Not necessarily per person, but they could tell what region a person was connected from, and then have people connect to a layered server mesh. I mean, basically, what they're going to be doing with the replication layer is clustering people onto what they're calling replicants, which are individual servers. But they're going to be clustering them by in-game geography, not real-world geography. Like, could local geographic replicants make sense? Possibly. But again, it depends on how much state they have to share with the other replicants and the rest of the backend. Like if you deploy a local replicant next door to your house, but it has to get a whole bunch of information from the servers in, New York City, well then you haven't really done a whole lot. All you've done is introduce another hop. It's very common to do head starts in land grab games. Yes. And non-land grab games. I mean, Diablo, World of Warcraft, they're not even land grab games, but they're still doing head starts in them. So, yeah, makes sense. Well, I don't know if it does make sense, but it's common. You're right about that. Am I happy that I'm not going to have as much competition for land as I could? Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset about it. Speaking of being upset, what about the launch? I understand we're going to go 6. I'm on the East Coast, United States. I'm looking at a 6 a.m. launch. Woo! I think I might be better off being West Coast for this. 3 a.m. I just stay up. At 6 a.m. I can't really stay up for that. I'm going to have to get up early. I'm bad at getting up early, but I'm going to do it for this. So like for a zone where a server could be, there would be different region servers, and if 30 people were in Asia and 40 from the US, they would each connect to the server from their region. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. You could have too many connections to the replication layer, or it would become unstable probably. Yeah, the problem is that in your example where you have 30 people in Asia and 40 people from the US, when those 70 people enter the same room, you still have state that needs to be communicated from an Asia server to a US server. See what I'm saying? You haven't really done anything to reduce the latency in that case. That's the problem with the speed of light. Are you all playing on North America, EU, RP, non-RP? Izumori, we're not ready to communicate which server we're playing on yet for sabotage reasons. But our members will get access to that information prior to launch. I can definitely tell you we're going to be playing in North America. So, but beyond that, I can't do too much. Joe will be ready, though? We will be ready. 4 a.m. for me? Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah. I'm going to be doing another live chat focused on Pax Day Thursday of next week. And in that live chat, I'll be sharing a lot more about our clan's plans. I still won't be talking specifics on servers, but we'll be talking a lot more in that chat about how our clan is going to be doing things. For anybody interested, our clan is having its pre-launch meeting this coming Sunday. So if you are interested in joining, I would encourage you to join the Discord and at least fill out the survey and say I might play with Unhinged so that you can come participate in our pre-launch meeting. These pre-launch meetings, we do these for every game launch. They're pretty exciting. They're pretty fun. We do a stage channel on Discord. Me and the leader of this chapter will get up there and we'll talk about how things are going to go. We'll have a chat like this, so we'll be taking live Q&A during the meeting from the chat, and then after the pre-launch pizzazz, we'll open things up for just general conversation, and everybody can talk at the same time and make for a big, chaotic, loud room, and it'll be a lot of fun. Sadly, it's remote, so we can't share hors d'oeuvres or anything, but it'll still be a lot of fun. I am offering to send pizzas to people for the Star Citizen Con Direct, though. So if you want to come join us for that, get a free pizza, I'll send you one. Come on over. I expect the attendance there to be a little smaller, so I can do that. I can't send everybody free pizzas for this PAX Day launch because I'm expecting I don't know how many people are going to be at the pre-launch event, but I expect our numbers going into the 1.0 launch to be high enough that I can't send everybody a free pizza. I might be a tad later than that, but not by much. Joe, for what? The launch? The 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. deal? Yeah. I had a thought. Bear with me. Who's buying me pizza? I buy my own pizza. Actually, I don't. I can't even eat pizza. I'm on a very low carb diet, so I don't eat pizza anymore. Sadly, I miss it. And before some post on Spectrum that you have free pizza next time. Griff, do not spread that around. If our watch party gets to a certain size, I'm going to have to rescind the offer. But early adopters, the offer's there. More like 8. Oh, you'll be on at 8. What area of the world are you living in, Joe? Let's all buy him some pizza. I appreciate that, Kennedy. I'm the opposite. I'm trying to gain weight. Yeah, I'm not even trying to lose weight. I don't have any weight concerns. I just more like my blood work. You know what I mean? My doctor yells at me. What happens when you get up there in the years, Kennedy? Start having to think about like cholesterol and triglycerides and all that good stuff. So, and for some people, it's just genetic. I'm one of those lucky people that I don't know, for some reason my body likes to produce triglycerides. So here I am on protein and veggie diet. DC area, okay. So you're just gonna wake up a little later. You're not in a rush. I feel that. I had pizza today. It was good. I need to stop. It's not good for me. Yeah. I have pizza in my kitchen right now because I got some children. They can eat pizza. Talk about temptation. Do the portobello mushroom cat pizzas? I've never even heard of such a thing. Is that a thing? What do? You get like a big mushroom cap and make a pizza out of it? I could do that. That'd be cool. I never even thought of that. My brother has a recipe for cauliflower pizza. It's low carb. Sounds good. I could do that too. Actually, there is a place around here that does cauliflower crust pizza. I'll have to look into that. I'll try to tune into your sitcom stream. I can. Cool, Griff. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Any predictions for this CitizenCon? I know we're here mainly for PAX Day, but I would love to take some CitizenCon predictions right now. Kennedy, I'm getting there, scarily close to 30. Oh man, call me in another 20 years. I'm not the 5-0 yet, but I'm closing in. I could go for being 30 again. My knees, man. Northwest, I am cholesterol. Gotta get the kids to school. Yeah, I hear you, Joe. Makes sense. White pizza with black olives, portobello mushroom, prosciutto. Delicious. That sounds mostly good. I'm not an olive lover, I gotta admit. The rest of it I could do. I'll have to give it a shot. Holding the line for an extra year. Come on, Tom Seiki. That's funny though. That's funny. They will release Nyx. I've been saying Nyx by the end of the year since like April. I would be surprised. I will be surprised if we get Nyx like before the end of this year. I'd be shocked. I hope you're right. Hope y'all are right. I'd be shocked. But for being only a 2-hour stream, it's too short to guess what they might show. Yeah, it is short. I'm personally hoping that we get some concrete information on base building or crafting, whatever. But I'm not holding my breath. Like I'm talking like concrete, like, hey, first quarter of 2026 or first half. I don't think they'll release Nyx, but I think they can properly tease it or maybe show actual engineering gameplay / release date. Yeah, I think engineering is close. Sounds like they just got to get the Vulcan stuff off of the PTR, and engineering's going to make it onto the PTR. So, looking forward to that. This year, this entire year has been nothing but content. Which, if you've been following along, you know I'm not into quests and all that stuff. So, it's not really exciting me. I'm jonesing for some new systems again. So, engineering would be one such system I'd be excited about. Nyx, I'd also be excited about. Is breakfast pizza well known? I never had it until I visited the States. Yeah, I've heard of breakfast pizza. I wouldn't say it's popular. I don't know. Maybe it might depend on the area that you're living in. New York City is probably a lot more popular than where I'm at. But we do have one place around here that specializes in breakfast and pizza. Well, I would assume they do a breakfast pizza, but I've never been there. But I would say it's probably as popular as breakfast tacos. Maybe a little less popular than breakfast tacos. I'm starting to think Nyx is more and more likely to be sooner than we think. I hope you're right, Commander Melander. I really do. But I don't think it's this year. I hope I'm wrong. Citizen Con prediction is Jared will say something he will have to retract the next day. That's cheating. That's cheating, Joe. That's too easy. Joe, give the kids permission to skip if they play PAX all day on launch. Then you can get on earlier. There you go. Beer Deeks thinking outside the box. Citizen game. I'll be here for the PAX or for the Citizen Con stream. Not sure about PAX though. Hey, that's all right. Love to see you for the stream. Griff, I would love an updated presentation from Rich Tyer on the road to 1.0 from last year's Citizen Con. Yeah, that'd be great. I would not complain about that at all. Nyx would be amazing. I agree, but I'm really smoking the copium with my prediction. I think we get Squadron 42. I'm not sure if you saw the leak on the Stinger. I did not see the leak on the Stinger. What's the leak? Tell me about it. But yeah, that's some hopium. I don't know about copium, but that is some hopium. Yeah, I'm predicting they squeak Squadron 42 in under the wire, very end of 2026. That's my prediction on Squadron 42. Original concept of Nyx only had one landing zone. Point of interest, Levisky, which was already in the game years ago, and they took it out to make room for more Stanton. So low-hanging fruit, bringing up to standard in its own system. Maybe. The way Jared said, not sure if they will make 2026. I think it will be early, not late. I don't know, Kennedy. Grow to the low. Hey, Ark. Thanks for joining us, man. I found it in Ohio. Found what in Ohio? Oh, breakfast pizza. I can't believe the Canadians don't have breakfast pizza. I feel like Canadian breakfast is way better than American breakfast. You guys got the eggs Benedict and the eggs Benedict and oh yeah, eggs Benedict, which just so happens to be my favorite breakfast. So, Nick should more or less use existing systems. They might not be able to up the player cap much at this point. I could see them doing a split live branch like they did for 4.0. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It really depends on how ready the new Planet Tech is. Like, I don't know how much effort it is for them to generate a plane at this point. That's why I don't. I'm not convinced we'll see Nyx this year because I felt like planet generation for Pyro took a long time, and I know Planet Tech, the new Planet Tech is supposed to make that process a lot easier and simpler, and the new tech they have for placing POIs and all that stuff, but I just don't know how ready that stuff is. What are the first 5 planets supposed to be besides Nyx being the third? You mean systems, Ross? I'm sure somebody else has already answered it by now, but my understanding is Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, Terra, and somebody help me. What's the 5th? At least Jared's less likely to pull a muscle. Yeah, that's for sure. And the Vandal thing being supposedly a Nyx might be a good drop alongside Squadron 42. If not Sitcon, I think it'll be at IAE. Both on the beginning of Nyx testing. Singer is Vandal Heavy Fighter. Yeah. Great op tonight. Clash with Griefernet. Mission success. New recruits too. High five. Ark is one of our board members in our Star Citizen chapter within Unhinged. So for those who don't know, Unhinged is the gaming community that I run. We have a lot of chapters. Pax Dei is one of those chapters. Star Citizen is one of those chapters. Ashes of Creation is a chapter. And we got Dune as a chapter. As well as we got some people playing WoW too. But by and large, our effort is mostly in sandbox games. So Ark here is one of our board members, and they were running a mission tonight. So glad to hear it. It was a success. I think Ark's going to be joining us for PAX Day too. We'll see. Nyx has Vandal Raiders according to lore, so having new Vandal ships ready for Nyx would make sense. I don't know much about the lore at all. I will take your word for that, Griff. Ralos, welcome to the chat, man. Ralos has been around the community for a long time. Canadian bacon. Love Canadian bacon too. I don't know that I would say that's better than American bacon, though. But it is good. Redacted. Yeah, our breakfast is good enough. We didn't need to invent breakfast pizza. There you go. Exactly. We're still trying to catch up down here. Although, yeah. Jersey pork roll over Canadian bacon. I don't even know what a Jersey pork roll is. That's a thing, man. The United States has such a spread on its own ethnicities when it comes to things like breakfast that I probably couldn't even tell you what most people's breakfast is. 100%, but Pyro is really a big system with multiple planets. Nyx, I think, has just some large asteroids. Really? I don't know anything. I honestly, I haven't even looked at a Nyx map, so I don't even know what's involved in Nyx. Word on the vine is we might see a fully redeveloped planet in Stanton sooner than we thought. Interesting. What planet would that be, Ark? I guess, and for anybody who's joining, like we've gone on a detour here. We're talking about Star Citizen a little bit now, but we'll bring it back if you're here for PAX. I know that's what the thumbnail says. But I'm a big fan of all sandbox games, so we'll talk about them all in this channel all the time. I guess it depends on whether or not Nyx is supposed to be using 100% of the Genesis system. Yeah, I don't know. That's the question. I mean, if they want to not spend a whole bunch of time developing the planets and stuff in the system, I would imagine they want to, but I don't know. Cheap viewers on what the hell? I assume that's some kind of a spam bot. Castra, then Terra. There you go. Castra's the one I forgot. Thanks, Griff and Commander Melander. Because Terra won't live up to the expectation no matter what. Yeah, that's for sure. Microtech's going to be the one getting an overhaul. Cool. Can hardly wait for Nyx so I can take an ironclad out packed with everything I need to cross a few star systems, see the sights, and make a fortune. Well, I'm not the only one excited for the ironclad. That is the ship I'm looking forward to. We got all these other ship announcements coming through right now, and I'm just like, meh, 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 meh. I don't care about any of them. Give me the ironclad. That's the ship I'm waiting on. I know the Paladin's coming out soon. Big meh for me. I'm sure it'll be cool. A lot of people are going to love it. It doesn't have a spot in my arsenal, but the ironclad, whoo boy, I can't wait for that. There's a terraforming accident mentioned in some materials that suggest it would be the first V5 planet we might get. That would be cool. Microtech would be an amazing V5 planet. There's a lot going on Microtech, a lot of different biomes. And it's really my favorite planet to cruise around on, so that would be exciting. If I had to guess what planet might be staying first, I would guess Microtech. There you go. Multiple bio, yeah, exactly. And the hero squad wants to put in the new transport system on one planet first. Oh yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Ironclad was my big miss this year. Can't wait. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Good point on the biomes and the transit system. And what's up, Ralos? Now that I got you live, are you going to be playing PAX? I want to fly my Orion so bad. Do you fly an Orion now? I feel like you just kind of float around in an Orion. Remember that time we went to drive to a mission on Microtech and it took us 3 hours? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so when I first joined Star Citizen, I was such a noob that, and everybody else, including Ralos here, there was a bunch of noobs, and we thought it would make sense to pick up some mission on Microtech, and instead of going out the hangar, we got a ground vehicle and drove out the garage entrance, and we drove there, and yeah, it took hours and hours. Definitely gave you a sense for the scale of the game. That was one of my first. It wasn't my first experiences, but it was one of my first group experiences in the game. Benoit said Microtech has the star portation system working in an older patch. Star portation. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Listen, if you can do loops in an Idris, you can at least fly the right. Yeah, we'll see. Might be able to do a barrel roll in it. I'm currently walking around in someone's giant castle in Pax Dei. It's absurd that it's not running at 10 FPS. Dude, I know, Griff. That's one of the most impressive things of PAX to me, because I have yet to see it in any other Unreal 5 game. Like, if you play Ashes of Creation right now, the render distance is not amazing. Like, it'll render static assets in the distance, like things that it knows there, things that your client can pre-download, right? But PAX is somehow rendering player structures like over the horizon, or just before the horizon. Like, you can see player structures so far away, and that is a truly impressive feat to me in Unreal Engine 5. I don't know how they're doing it. If there is any 3D engine expert in the audience, I would love an explanation on how they pull that off, because I've not seen anything like it. And yeah, even locally, whenever you're like right up in front of something, because some of these things that people were building, I mean, they consist of like 5,000 components. You know what I mean? Like, if you played Dune, you know that in that game they limited you, right, to how many structures you could have, or how many building blocks you could put into a base. And that was kind of something they used to ensure performance. But in PAX Day, I'm not aware of any limits Are there any limits? I don't even know if they have a lighting limit on a plot. Is anybody aware of any? Which is very impressive. How large can constructs be in packs? Like I've seen pretty big castle, and I'm wondering if that's what I'm talking about, Tom Siki. I'm not aware of any limits. Now there are height limits related to structural integrity, and I'm not an expert I'm not an expert builder in packs. I've built some things, but I could not explain the structure strength system. Somebody else could probably do a much better job than me at explaining that. Wow, you drove to a mission? That's hilarious. Don't make fun of me, Ross. We did. It was something else. That's not the only thing we drove to, Ross. Before that, the very first time I ever logged into the game, I started on Microtech, and Ralos, who was in the chat, wanted to demonstrate the game to me, and we wanted to fly somewhere. So we decided to fly to the closest station, which I hope was Bikini Point, or not Bikini Point, whatever station's above Microtech. But we did not use our quantum drive. We just flew there on hydrogen fuel. That took a long time, too. Oh, yeah, because Jared said every game system now has to have star. Yeah. Yeah. Redacted. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully I didn't miss waving to you. Really appreciate you being here. They do not. Mr. King, thanks for stopping in, man. He is one of our Pax Dei experts. He's leading our Pax Dei chapter, so you could definitely ask him Pax Dei questions. But yeah, they do not have limits, which is impressive. Again, I don't know how they do that. And ensure some level of same performance. They have to have some kind of calling. They have to. I don't know how they would do it without some form of intelligent calling, but I don't know. I've seen ghastly megastructures in packs with disgusting detail. I know, it's insane. That's probably one of the most impressive things they've done with the Unreal Engine. There's a limit to how many floors you can go up and down. Not sure how many though, yeah. But I think, Delby, that's just a natural byproduct of the structural integrity. Like you can put pillars and stuff in to give yourself more integrity and foundations, but there's a limit to how far they'll go. Nicholas Geisler, thanks for stopping in, man. I'm that player who has been following since around 2017, and I only hop on when there is something major to try and look at feature-wise. Last time I was when the freight elevators were newish. Yeah, there's a lot of players like that. I don't blame you. I mean, you know, all of these alpha games, it can be a bit much to stomach them for a long period of time. So, I will say I'm a little disappointed in the low FOV they use on the water SSR and PAX. Give me proper RT water reflections. Griff? I don't know if I know exactly what you're saying, but low field of view. I don't know what SSR is. I'm not a 3D client expert. Nicholas Geyser, but I follow closely. But I'm primarily waiting for closer to 1.0 because I don't want to be tired of the game by the time it really gets going. Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's the reason. You know, I took a break from PAX at one point. I wanted to be fresh for 1.0. Same thing with Ashes of Creation. Like I get in there on every phase, but I don't go too hard because I don't want to burn myself on Ashes of Creation either. That's a game I'm looking forward to playing. And even Star Citizen. You know, I do a lot of content related to Star Citizen on my channel, but I don't go overboard on Star Citizen either. As great as it is, like I don't want to burn out. Kennedy returns. Welcome back. That's amazing you managed to drive anywhere. It was tough. Took a lot of patience. We almost gave up a few times, but we persevered. Rallis, I didn't get an answer on Pax from you, buddy. Come on. 7 floors up max, but it's tough to get it to stabilize. Okay, so there is just a hard limit on floors. Did not know that. I've never built that high. Just probably because I've never been able to stabilize that high. The screen space reflections on water. Cut off on the left and right edges of the screen way before the edge of your view. So it shifts to a generic sky color. Interesting. I never noticed that. It's a common issue in older lighting implementations. I'll have to pay attention next time I log in. I did log into PAX 2 or 3 nights ago, and I was once again floored just how good the game looks. The water and lake looks good to me too. I was kind of dancing in one of the streams, but I don't have a picky eye. Like, I don't have an artist eye. Same with my hearing. Like, I don't have. Some people, they can like look at a television screen and know if it's LED or OLED or whatever. Like, that's not me. I can't tell the difference. Or they can tell if it's 4K or 8K or whatever. Again, I can't tell the difference. If you get low enough resolution, I'm sure I can. Like, I can tell, like 1080, I can tell that apart from 4K on a big enough screen. And then you have like the audiophiles who will be like, they can tell you, you know, the difference between 2 types. Again, not me. You can play me something on a laptop speaker or a sound bar, and I'm just like, whatever. It sounds like sound to me. So, but I can appreciate the people that have the appreciation for the finer detail. Still on the fence. I agree with Mr. King. Get off the fence. I know I'm beating a dead horse by saying this, but I'm waiting for crafting and base building in Star Citizen before I spend too much time in it. Like, my partner brought me 2 Verpal sticks for it. They're very nice. Yeah, I have Verpals as well. That's what I fly with. I primarily fly with a throttle stick and pedals, but also very much waiting for crafting and base building. Oh, you just reminded me that I need to log in and figure out how I want to make my character who is playing plots look, so I don't have to think about it at 4 a.m. on the 14th. Yeah. I wish Pax Dei allowed us to save our character like Star Citizen does. That'd be nice, but I can understand why they don't. We haven't had to create a character in Pax Dei nearly as often as we have to create characters in Star Citizen. But yeah, I think I know what my character's going to look like. Maybe I should go through the creator. That's a good call out. I might have to go through that a few more times just to make sure I have it down pat. I want to get some sticks. I just use mouse and keyboard. Yeah, sticks are a game changer. Literally a game changer. The immersion goes way up. In Star Citizen, not PAX. I would not recommend sticks for PAX Day. I think you're going to be good with mouse and keyboard there. Although I play with an Azeron. Does anybody else play with weird input devices? Or is everybody pretty much traditional keyboard user? I love my Azeron. I'm not endorsed by them either, but I play with it. I also got who the heck makes it? I got another weird input device. Can't remember who makes it. Man, totally blanking. Something starts with an N. It's another German. I think it's a German company. But anyway. I would not suggest playing Pax Day with a wheel and pedals. Sticks and Pax Day would be wild. Hey, we had some people trying to figure out how to get their sticks working in Dune Awakening. So, never know. For the ornithopters. I'm sure there's someone playing with a drum set input. Yeah. I mouse with my left hand and map to the numpad for WSD. Interesting. I guess that would be makes sense for a lefty. Are you a lefty, Delvey? I'm looking at this Move Master. That's the other weird input device I just got. Well, I've actually had it for a while, but they just released an expansion to it. It's called Move Master. Look it up if you're interested in weird input devices. It emulates WASD, but it's got a bunch of buttons, and the thing that you rest your hand on, you move that around. So your palm rest is actually your WASD, and then you got a bunch of buttons. But they just released an addition to it. So in addition to the buttons on the grip, there's now buttons in front of your fingers, so you can lift your fingers up and push more buttons now. It's interesting. The only reason I actually like the way my hand feels in that a lot better. The only reason I'm not using that over my Azeron is because the Azeron thumbstick acts as a joystick in games that support dual inputs. Not many do, by the way. Star Citizen is one of the few that will accept joystick and keyboard input at the same time. Like I tried it at Diablo recently, and Diablo will not do it. But not well, it will, but it's jank. Like it's weird. The UI constantly shifts back and forth as you change your input. So, but in games that support dual input, you can get analog control from the thumbstick. That's the only reason I'm using the Azeron over the Move Master. I mean, at least Dune makes sense, yeah. Someone who used the glove thing. I mean, the Azeron's kind of like a glove thing. I mean, it kind of looks like Dr. Claw sitting on your desk and you slide your fingers into it. No, I just trained myself to mouse due to much mouse at work during the day. Interesting. That's very interesting. Nintendo Power Glove? That's kind of what the Azeron reminds me of. But yeah, that brings back memories. Did anybody actually have a Nintendo Power Glove at its peak, whenever it was actually a marketed product? I never had one. I wanted one. Oh, that I looked up, saw a video of that the other day. Oh, the Move Master? Yeah, man. The Move Master's cool. I like it. If you're happy with WASD and you don't need analog, the Move Master's sweet. Kyarak had a Power Glove. It sucked. What sucked about it? It looked amazing. Like our first foray into virtual reality. I used to use a first-gen Peregrine for some RTS, but I haven't dug it out in years. I don't even know what a Peregrine is. Now I gotta look it up. Never saw that before. A wireless ergonomic board with built-in trackpad module that could be removed and used separately. Wow. I have never seen one of them. That's wild. Say it was hard to use. I have a friend who exclusively games with trackballs. Mostly FPS games. I almost forgot about trackballs. They were all the rage there for a while. It was because it was a gimmick that didn't work well with the majority of the games. You could play with it, and inputs wouldn't register properly. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. I remember sorry. Should have muted. I remember Dust 514. I was a big EVE Online player whenever Dust 514 came out, and I had a PlayStation, so I bought Dust 514. And at the time, I don't know if it was for Dust 514, but the PlayStation was selling like these guns. They looked like assault rifles, and they had like a little globe on the end. it was compatible with the PlayStation Move system, which had come out to compete with Nintendo's system, the Wii, which was gaining a lot of traction at the time with all of its movement-related gaming. So the PlayStation came out with its movement-related gaming, and this rifle thing was part of it. And I remember thinking, like, that would be amazing with a first-person shooter. Oh my God, was I wrong? It was terrible for the same reason. And the input was just janky. It never really registered the directions all that well. And yeah, it was terrible. I have an analog keyboard. Yeah, I did. I used to have an analog keyboard where each key could be programmed to be analog, but it was a Razer, I think. I don't think my current keyboard can be analog. I switched to a Wooting, which I love, but I don't think it has analog key support. Yeah, I know your Kentus. I know the name by now. I love Dust 514. I don't think there was many of us that loved it. I loved it too. I thought it was great. I'm sad to see it sunset so soon. Gonna try here on Twitch, see if the delay is less. Let me know. I bought a PS3, I think, for Dust 514. Was it? Hey, maybe you're right. It was a PS3 back then. I was thinking it was a 4, but yeah, maybe the 4. The 4 came after. Power Glove was slow, and the response time on the screen, I believe it. Power Glove looked cool as hell. You felt like a damn Power Ranger with that thing on. It just didn't work. Yeah, I remember the way they looked. They were sweet. I had a friend that had one. I never got to use it. Really? You're using a Wooting, and that's her big selling feature? I've had no idea. I guess I gotta fire up the software. I never knew that. You can map analog joysticks to the WASD? Really? Huh. I remember doing that with my Razer. I did not know I could do that with my Wooting. I'll have to check out the software. Today I learned. Thanks for coming and educating me. Appreciate it. For anybody who missed this the first time I put it in chat, I'm going to put it in one more time. There you go. If you're looking for a Pax Dei clan, or someone to watch CitizenCon Direct with, or a clan in any of the other games we play. We play Star Citizen, we play Ashes of Creation, Pax Dei, Dune Awakening. Hit one of those links. Join us. We'd love to have you. And again, you don't have to join us. You can just come hang out and chat. For people who follow the channel or this, whenever you join the Discord, like, we're very multifaceted. So the first form that pops up, it'll ask you like, "Hey, what are you here for?" There's an option for each of the games. Whichever one you click, you'll just see the channels for those games. There's also an option for Grollo's channel. You can check that, and you'll just see some channels related. There's some Discord channels related to Grollo's YouTube channel. We chat in there about random stuff. I have some tech chat channels and dev chat channels. So if you're a developer, we got quite a few of them on the channel, and you just want to come talk code. I love talking about that kind of stuff. Do it all the time. So, yeah, hop in for any of that. And again, we got a whole bunch of events. Discord has that little events thing at the top. You can click on that and you can see all of our upcoming events. One of which is CitizenCon Direct. Another of which is the Pax Dei launch and our upcoming pre-launch meeting, which we'd love to see some folks at the pre-launch for Pax Dei 1.0. A bunch more information coming out. And again, a reminder that Thursday next week, I'm going to be doing another one of these live chats. Similar. We'll be talking about Pax Dei and other random sandbox games, but during that chat, we'll also go into more of our clans plans for Pax Dei. So if you're on the fence about your clan and you want to come check that out, or you want to come spy on us and take some information back to your clan, all good reasons to come hang out. A lot of the peripherals back in the Nest days were pretty meh. Most of them were third party and didn't work, and people bought them because they didn't know any better. Yeah. Except for the gun that came with the Nest, right? Duck Hunt worked well. I loved Duck Hunt. We played that for hours. Although I did not own the original Nest. I had friends that owned it, and I played Duck Hunt on their Nests. I was a Sega kid. I got the Sega Master System, which came with its own gun, which I thought looked cooler than Nintendo's gun, which is one of the reasons I got it. But we didn't have Duck Hunt. We had some Safari game. But I played the heck out of that too. Boondale, regarding PAX, I'm in a group that has been active in PAX. However, just about all of them have bowed out because of how Mainframe is going to monetize the game. That's sad to hear, Boondale. I've heard that from a lot of people. Frustration with the monetization system. I personally don't get it because I felt like the monetization plans were clear from the very beginning. I was having this discussion in the comments on my channel just earlier today, and I used the Internet Wayback Machine to prove my point that this was very clearly communicated from the earliest days. Maybe not the earliest days, but over a year ago, you could already find information on their website about what their monetization plans were. So, I don't know. My perspective is anybody who is caught off guard by it now just didn't dig in enough, I guess. But, yeah. The monetization strategy is not pushing us away, I can say that. They got to monetize somehow. I'd rather pay for my plots than have this big, stupid in-game cash shop. I can tell you that. Which I know they do plan on rolling out some cosmetics eventually, but in their FAQ, they outlined very clearly how they were going to do that, and it's probably about the best way possible. We do Star Citizen packs. Yeah. Yeah, what KaiRX said. The Zapper was great. So was the Nest Turbo controller and the Nest Advantage. I don't even know what those were. It's better than a cash shop or pay to win. Exactly, Muscavian. That's what I'm trying to say. Hey, Fault 401. Salute back at you. Thanks for dropping in. They've been saying they were likely going to use subscription model for at least over a year. Yeah, exactly, Joe. That's what I'm saying. I can give you the link. It was in my chat earlier today. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. I accidentally clicked on another one of my scenes. Here, I'm dropping this in the chat, though. For anybody curious, that's the Wayback Machine. It goes to the PAX Day FAQ from over a year ago. It was like June 2024. And they went into great detail in that FAQ about what their monetization model was. And they outlined very clearly that whenever you were purchasing a founder pack, you were purchasing the plots for just the early access phase of the game. So. Rella says, oh, there will be a cash shop. That might have swayed me to play. See what you're going to be missing, Rallos, if you don't? My only thought is you will see fewer players willing to use plots for things like bridges now that they are paid for, but I agree it's better than a cash shop, yeah. That's a good point, Commander Melander. We might see less bridges, but I don't know. Maybe we'll just see more critical bridges. I think people are still going to use plots for great opportunities, and if you can funnel players into your territory by putting up a bridge, then I think we'll still see it, but definitely less. I agree with you. Boondale, I like the game, so I will ride it out till at least launch and see how it goes. I'm an old gamer from Ultimate Online days, and PAX reminds me of that game. Yeah. We were talking about, at the very beginning of this live chat, we were talking about Ultimate Online Boondale. I played Ultimate Online for quite a bit of time. Not as long as some. We had a 5-year Ultimate Online vet here. I wasn't that committed to it, but I very much enjoyed Ultimate Online. Was my first exposure to MMOs, and I came to Ultimate Online because I played all the Ultimas that came out before it. I think my favorite being Ultima 4. I think that's the one. Was that the one that had the character creation system where you ran into the gypsy and she had you choosing different actions you would take given different scenarios, and then that determined your starting character and stats? I think that was the one. I think that was Ultima 4. That was my favorite. I spent way too much time playing that game as a kid. UO was your first MMO? Yeah. I think it was a lot of people's. Well, I know a lot of people that was their first. Well, Boondale, if your entire clan has vacated the game and you're the last one standing and you're looking for a clan, you know where to come. I put the links up above in the chat. And there's some other people in the chat that would be happy to reshare if you need. But yeah, we got room in ours. Toll bridges, definitely you're going to see toll bridges. Fault 401, what kind of game is PAX? It is an open world sandbox game that focuses on the social nature of gaming. If you're familiar with EVE Online, the developers of PAX, most of them came from CCP, which was the company behind EVE Online. And there's a lot of similar motives in PAX's development. They're trying to create a feudal era game that emphasizes, diplomacy and backstabbing and all that kind of stuff. It's free build, so if you have a plot, you can put it down in the world. You can build whatever you want on that plot. They have a really good backbone for player-driven economy. Everything is player-driven. Like, there's no quest-giving NPCs in the world. Anything that gets built in this world will be built by players. Anything that gets traded will be traded by players. And everything can be crafted and created from resources that you can gather on the land. So that's the kind of game PAX Day is. Hope that answers the question. I heavily agree that subs incentivize development over cash shops. Cash shop trash, even if it means bases will remain a little more compact and taller. 100%. It's also a good solution to the problem of cleaning up unused plots. Like in the early access, they had to do a lot of plot wipes because plots went inactive. So if the plots were free, they'd have to be doing the same thing in live, and I don't think that would be all that great. Or they'd have to implement a decay system or something else, but this both funds the game and takes care of the dormancy problem pretty well. I hope we get the mirror from the original concept character creation Star Citizen. Yeah. Ultima Online was my first MMO. I was like 12. My cousin had 2 accounts and said I could play on his alt for free if I farmed resources. That sounds like a good deal for the cousin. And for you, I suppose. Do you remember what class you played? Noscavian. I still remember what I made. Dark Age of Camelot was second. I missed Dark Age of Camelot. Ralos in the chat, I know, is a big Dark Age of Camelot enjoyer. I wish I had played it. I totally missed the boat on it. Boondale, I'm there. Was going to see if anyone catches on after the game launches. Nice. Oh, yeah. Delby, we do need buy orders in the game. That would go a long way to closing the trading. Oh man, I could not agree more, Delby. Gosh, I wish more games would do buy orders. Buy orders were paramount to the economy in EVE Online. Even New World did buy orders, and it was a massive boon to the New World economy before they decided they didn't want an economy. And they wanted to go the vertical progression, BOE, or yeah, BOP route of get whatever. I have so much beef with New World, I don't want to get into it, but I think buy orders would go a huge, long way in PAX, and I hope they implement them soon. That's kind of a follow up. A thief was your main. Nice. I did like a hunter type thing. I think it was a hunter. So I could like tame animals. That was my first character in Ultima Online. My only character in Ultima Online. Griff, I'll look into your next SC upload as well. Have a good evening. You too, Griff. Thanks for popping in. Really enjoyed having you here. My Ultima Online main was a mage with some craft skills. Nice, nice. I never got into the magic in Ultima Online. Yeah, I had a Tamer Bard combo too. Nice. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I didn't make it too far in Ultima Online. I played for a couple months. I didn't fully get bitten by the MMO bug until I played Ultima Online for a few months, and I didn't play anything after that. I just went back to kind of single player gaming until Guild Wars 1 released. I played some multiplayer FPSs and stuff in between or whatever, but Guild Wars 1 was the first MMO that I really sunk my teeth into, and then after that it was World of Warcraft. And then the rest is history. Been on MMOs ever since. EVE Online after that. Which I still get pangs, go back and play sometimes, but every time I do, I'm reminded why I don't. Still great. It's still the best economy of any game out there. I'm hoping PAX rivals it. It's definitely got the developer chops to suggest that they could. And it's one of the reasons I'm so excited for PAX. Yeah, MO2 is a pale shadow of what it was in the beginning. I was hopeful it was going to do well. It might come back. MO2? What's MO2? The only thing I'm thinking of is Master of Orion 2, which was one of my favorite space strategy games growing up. Oh, Mortal Online. Okay, yeah, I don't know anything about Mortal Online. Never played it. I'm sleeping on it until I see how it does after a bit. A lot of stuff coming out this month, like Battlefield, WoW Legion Remix, Arc Raiders, all of which I'm interested in. And PAX is a huge time investment. It is a big time investment. I mean, you can play any game casually, but if you want to get to the end state in a short amount of time, it's a commitment. But for the person who wants to build the little quiet hut by the stream, you can do that casually. I hear the stories about Ultima Online, but I didn't really get into PC gaming until the last couple years. I was on Xbox before that. Nice. Yeah, I took a break. So after I retired from EVE Online, I took a big break from PC gaming and went primarily console for a number of years. I didn't come back to PC gaming until man, I guess the 2019 release of Classic WoW. I think I felt like there was something before that. No, before that I played ESO on the PC. I started ESO on console, and then I got frustrated with some of the limitations, and so I came over to PC for ESO. So I was playing that prior to 2019's Classic relaunch. Mortal Online 2. Is it good? Was it good? Remember when CCP owned White Wolf and tried to make a World of Darkness MMO? I do not remember that. That is crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing, Novaskin. Or Nuskavian. Which your name reminds me of like a Vampire the Masquerade vampire clan, honestly. I don't know if that's intentional. Hey, good night, Delver. Happy gaming to you too, man. But I played a lot of the White Wolf tabletop games back in the day. That's crazy. Did they get anywhere with the World of Darkness MMO? Did it even launch? Rallis, we played it for 2 days. Remember the... Oh, that game. Okay, yeah, I remember Mortal Online 2. I played it for 2 days, like Rallis said. I was not impressed with it. Elder Scrolls Online, I tried it, but I just didn't feel like Skyrim. And I never liked it. Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online, that's what I'm talking about when I say ESO. I played that for a number of years, actually. Yup, I combined Nosferatu and Malkavian. They were two amazing vampire clans, Noscavian. I played characters of both types at one point or another. I know it's another game, but for being the same universe, it felt wrong. Oh, ESO, yeah. I hear you. Yeah, it was never going to feel like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls just because the freedoms that you can enjoy in a single player game never map to an MMO, unfortunately. You have the leaked internal playtest document? Really? That is amazing. I didn't, but it was developed for a while. World of Darkness MMO. The combat felt so dressed. Oh, and ESO, it was. The combat is what drove me away from the game, ultimately. I started out playing primarily a healer in that game, so I didn't feel it until I switched at some point and wanted to play more of a DPS role, get more into the PvP, battlegrounds, that type of thing. And when I did, I quickly learned that the meta, in order to be competitive with DPS, was having to weave a light attack in between every single ability. And that drove me absolutely batshit crazy. As someone who had come from like World of Warcraft combat, in which you didn't have to do anything that insane, it just made everything feel clunky to me. And soon I just couldn't get over it, and I retired from ESO. Joe, hopping off here. Talk to you more in a few days, Grollo. Melty Ice, nice to have you, man. Thanks for jumping in and taking part. I'm going to be jumping off here soon too, people. I've been at this for a little over 2 hours now. That was kind of the time frame I had in mind. But yeah, it was so clunky. I agree. If they could have done away with the light attack weaving, but that was all about animation canceling, I believe. And I remember at the time, like, people would be in an uproar on the forums on a daily basis, wanting that to be improved, and the company just dug its heels in and said, "We're not changing it." And so as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Okay, this is not the game for me." I enjoyed a lot of the other stuff about the game. I enjoyed the fact that that game was more horizontal than things like WoW. Like, you could get a set of gear, and years later, it was still a viable set of gear. I love that part of the game, but combat, I couldn't do it. Most projects that CCP has tried to develop crashed and burned. EVE Online is pretty much the only thing that CCP has ever been successful. I know, it's kind of surprising, because EVE Online was such a success that they could not replicate it anywhere else. And Dust 514 was a flop. That virtual reality flight sim that they put out was a flop. I didn't even know they did the World of Darkness thing. They have that new first-person sandboxy thing coming out. I forget what it's called. It'll be interesting to see if it's a success. They are really dead set on making different games tie into the EVE universe. And so far, it has not worked for them. But somebody there must believe that eventually it will work. if you're passionate, you can't fault somebody for trying over and over again if at first you don't succeed, right? The problem now is that like EVE Online is aging as a project, and it just feels like eventually it's going to be superset by some of these newer titles and technologies. So it almost feels, well, I mean, if you can come out with a new game that plugs into the universe and that game takes off, I mean, maybe that's a springboard for the next thing. Who knows? But I don't want to be too critical. But of course, I look at something like Star Citizen and I can't help but think, how does this not sunset EVE Online eventually? But clearly, they have a few years left. But yeah, good point, Boondale. Anyway, like I said, we crossed the 2 hour mark just a little bit ago. It's been really good chatting with everybody. I really appreciate everybody coming out to this live chat. One last time, I'll remind everybody I'm going to do a live chat on Thursday of next week. The big difference between that live chat and this live chat is I'll be going more into our clan's plans, so that'll be more applicable to anyone really looking to get into what we might be planning. Yeah, have a good night, Fault 401. So, would love to have people back for that. And again, CitizenCon Direct, if you're looking for a place to enjoy it, plans for ? For our Pax Dei clan. Yeah, you did pop in at the last second, Storm Pain. It's all right. We've been talking about Pax Dei 1.0's launch for the last 2 hours. And next Thursday, we'll be doing another Pax Dei chat, but that one we'll be talking more about our clan's plans. So if you're interested, if you're clan shopping, you have some, you just want to pop in and check clan stuff, that would be the one to do it. Then I'll be doing a third live chat the night before the launch, just for anybody who wants to get hyped up and pumped up with us and just chat about the next day. We'll be doing that on Monday, October 13th. I'll be doing some streaming of the game for the first few days that it's released. I'm not a full-time streamer. I don't do this very often. I'm a pretty bad streamer, but if you want to come see my first couple days of PAX, I'll be doing that right after launch. And then again, CitizenCon Direct, if you're looking for a group to watch that with, come join us. For people who popped in last minute, I'm going to drop our Discord link in chat. Come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then here's our website too, which is easier to remember. Unhinged.gg in your browser. That'll get you all the places you need to go. So yeah, would love to see everybody for any and all of that stuff. Commander Melander, see you around. You're already there. Love it. Kennedy, good chatting with you too. Hope you also have a good night. You'll try to pop in the CitCon Direct. Love it. Love to hear it. See if your crazy prediction comes true. I hope it does. Storm Pain, you're trying to build a replica of the lake town from The Hobbit before wipe. Good luck with that, sir. If you do, I would love to see a screenshot of it. Jump into the Discord. I just linked it. We got a screenshot channel in there. Drop us a picture of what you create, man. Coming along slowly, I can imagine. Thank you, Fault 401. And that's it. I'm out of here. Really good chatting with y'all. Thanks again for coming out. Grollo out.